wish to fulfill the dreams of those Americans, both the living and the dead, who've struggled unremittingly and courageously over the past 2 centuries to expand those freedoms to more Americans. Often we have fallen short, but the marvel and the miracle of America is that we keep marching forward for justice. And in spite of the perceived problems inherent in our differences, the more we move forward, the more we erase these forms of discriminations, the more we find out about ourselves, who we are, and what we are as Americans. Now, Thank you, Randy. Now, I understand the trepidation and the anxiety that people are feeling right now, and I understand that there is always a risk in any action that you take. But what we have to really come out of this gathering today understanding is that rights should not be stifled by fear. What we should understand is that silence should not be a response to injustice, and that if we take no action, we will surely lose. Maybe we've already lost. There is no gain without struggle, and there is no corner of this country or region of the world that timelessly has not been struggling to bring freedom to those who have never received it. And therefore, we struggle for that freedom for all people, even still here in the United States of America, and I am willing to help lead that struggle for marriage equality in New York. Now, we come to this debate with the wind at our back. The events in Connecticut and Massachusetts, the decisions in Iowa and in Vermont give us the feeling that we can be effective. In 2006, when I was a candidate for lieutenant governor, my friend and running mate Eliot Spitzer and I committed ourselves to marriage equality. In 2007, I walked the floor of the Assembly with Danny O'Donnell, and we were able to pass marriage equality in the New York State Assembly. In 2008, in my first 2 months as governor, I recognized the rights of those already married, that they would exist right here in New York State. And so now the discussion seems to be whether or not the New York State Senate can pass this legislation, or whether or not this legislation should be allowed to come to the floor. I'm wondering if I'm in a time warp or have been sent someplace else in time. First of all, the governor introduced the same bill in 2007. So I read today that I'm rushing things. I'm rushing things by re-releasing a bill that the former governor released in 2007. What is going on in the world right now? The reality is that when you look at this legislation in 2007, when it passed the Assembly, didn't we all stand together and ask the Senate to take this bill up? Didn't we cry out for democracy? And didn't we ask for the openness and transparency of government that we thought we deserved? Where are all those good government people right now not calling for there to be a vote on this legislation in both houses? Now, let me be clear. I am not in any way attempting to instruct either the majority leader of the Senate or the Speaker of the Assembly. They know their houses. They will introduce their bills at the appropriate time. I am here to speak against those who I think are antagonistic and antithetical and always have been, not only to marriage equality, but for equality for gay and lesbian, bisexual, and transgendered citizens who have stoked the flames of what is really an honest difference of opinion, or maybe even a little trepidation in favor of making sure that no legislation is ever passed at all, and I will not permit it on my watch. It's time to take a stand. And so, I just want it to be clear, this is not a Democratic or Republican issue. This is not an issue about politics. There is an Assemblywoman, Teresa Seward, who spoke in 2007. And at that time, she said, as I stand here today, for me, and I hope for everyone else, this is an issue of civil rights. Now, this, to me, is an issue for families, not just for walking down the aisle in harmonious celebration, but for the rights of intestacy, for 1,300 to 1,400 rights that don't exist unless a couple is married. You can have civil unions, but you won't get rights. And the reality is that for me, this is a time to fulfill the dreams of our founding Constitution, which implored us to expand the rights of the Union. And our founding Constitution has been expanded to include African Americans, the right of women to vote, the right of Americans to get citizenship here in this country. And we want to expand those rights to all people. For too long, the gay and lesbian communities have been told that their rights and freedoms have to wait. For too long, the New Yorkers have been told that the dysfunctional government is going to make them wait for openness and real transparency. This is the real reform. The time has come to act. The time has come for leadership. The time has come to bring marriage equality to the state of New York. Great. And since that will also include the city of New York, I would like to bring its great mayor, Michael Bloomberg, to the podium right now.